What's up, Shannon? How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm all good. I'm all good. Thanks a million for coming on for a chat.
No problem.
Um, yeah. So we were just talking there. Like, obviously, you haven't been able to do much training and stuff. But had you any fights or competition coming up before all of this kind of kicked off?
Yeah, so I had a big one, to be honest, and it was called the Elites for boxing. And obviously, so the Elites is the biggest one, and that can kind of open the doors for GB or like bigger things. If that's on your kind of boxing CV, that's really good for you. So we was training for that, and then I think it was 3 days out before my first fight for the Londons. I was training, and then as I was training, hitting the pads and stuff, my coach gets a call and says, "Yeah, it's done. It's postponed." So I'm hoping that goes ahead at the end of the year, because my plan is to get that done and then do it again next March. And then obviously that's a tick on the amateur career that obviously I want to achieve.
Yeah. So that would have been the ABAs. Is that what it's kind of known as over there in the
Yeah,
UK?
yeah. They've changed it to the Elites. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so it's does cancelling that kind of have a knock on effect into the GB setup?
What, having that cancelled?
Yeah.
Um, no, because it will still go ahead. But obviously the doors can open for GB kind of anyway. You can have one bout and you don't know who's going to be there. It's just the Elites is you fight the best of the best. So you do the Londons, then you move up to, I think it is home counties, and then you go to regional. So obviously if you win all of them, just depends. Like it's like kickboxing, depends how many people are in that category. You fight till you get to the end.
Yeah. Actually, just get back a bit. Like, how did you actually get into kickboxing originally?
So I was 5 years old, and like before I was born, my dad had his own kickboxing gym. So I was kind of born into it, if that makes sense. So even now, I know nothing different. So yeah, he started out in just like a leisure centre, and then yeah, as soon as I was born, he was taking us to tournaments and had us training from young. And that's me and my sisters, I mean. And then I think it was 2006, he got his own kickboxing gym. And yeah, just followed through with him really.
So you didn't really have any choice in going into kickboxing.
No, had no choice. Again, I was brought into it, and then I did like a bit of dance and a bit of gymnastics at school and things like that, but I didn't want to do anything else, just that really.
Would you have been competitive in any of those other kind of hobbies or pastimes?
Yeah, I think even like now I'm competitive in anything that I do, which is a
Yeah.
good thing.
Do you think gymnastics and that helped you going into kickboxing?
I didn't do it for too long, but I do believe because I started the stretching and everything from young, I carried that through even till now.
Yeah. Don't need the flexibility in the legs so much at the moment, though.
No, I know I do. Do you know what? I do miss kicking. But again, I'm enjoying the boxing more than I thought I would have when I first started.
Yeah. Uh, is the club is your dad's club? Is that mostly points, or is it all the disciplines? Or
So it is both the points and the light contact. He does both all the time. So every session it will be a bit of points, a bit of light contact.
would you have always competed in both?
Funny enough, no. So when I was younger, I did both. And then as I started moving up, I found in the kickboxing the points got a bit more recognition. So I just wanted to just concentrate on that solely. And even to this day, I love it. Like I do miss it. And then it started as I was thinking about doing boxing. I started to do a bit more light contact. I think I've done it again at the White Tiger Challenge back in 2018, and then obviously I won that in the division. And I come back and I was like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. And then I'm boxing now. So
Yeah. So would you and your sister always have like been quite successful, like straight away from you started? Would you have been picking up trophies and medals?
yeah. So the eldest one, so Gemma, she started with Taekwondo, and then my dad was a lot more stricter with her because obviously that was years ago. Um, and then yeah, so she started. She started. I think she started the women's sections when she was about 11 or 12, and then me and my sister started doing the adult sections when we was about 13, I believe. But yeah, we did start meddling and things from when we was young. So that
Yes.
obviously kept the motivation to keep going and obviously do better.
So are you the middle sister or the youngest sister?
No, I'm the baby. I'm the youngest. Yeah,
You
yeah. So I'm 23, then Tash is 24, and then Gemma's 35 now.
so you got the easiest run, the least strict. I take it.
No, I think the middle sister did, and
Yeah.
then I'm the one that's kept it going. So I think I get the praise from my dad.
So they don't train anymore, and
The middle one, so Tash is a sports rehabilitator now. She still trains but doesn't compete. And then Gemma, she's a beauty therapist and masseuse, and she just does training here and there. Doesn't compete anymore.
yeah. So, what age then when you would have started maybe competing at like a WAKO Worlds and European, that kind of level?
So when we started, so the Worlds I only done, I think that was 2015, because obviously with the WAKO Worlds and the Europeans, we never really, I always wanted to do it, because obviously if you win that, you're the best in your weight. But obviously with that, I don't know how it is for you guys, but how it is here in the UK, there's certain selected coaches that are your coach. And my dad at the time was never selected to do that. So out of respect, none, like me and my team, we never went, because obviously he's the one that's coached us from day one. So how can we have someone else behind us? Do you know what I mean? And then it was 2015, I believe, when I went to the juniors and he was allowed to coach. So that was an amazing win, and obviously I'll never forget that. But doing like the Irish Open and things like that probably would have been, I can't even say when it was. I remember when it was a basketball arena, so, but I never competed. It was my sister that was competing there. But yeah, obviously when it was in the basketball arena.
Yeah, that was quite a good few years ago, I suppose. I think, but like that, winning the Irish Open seems to be like held in as much regard as winning a WAKO World title to some degree, because it's
Definitely. I won that a couple of times, and the feeling, I can't even describe the feeling. It is just amazing. Like you just cry, and all that hard work is achieved. And then obviously I think it was when it was snowed. So when was that? Not last year, before. And I got to the final against an all-star girl, and she got the win, and it was a fantastic fight. But even to come second in that was amazing, and that feeling was amazing. However, obviously the best of the best were not there. So I'd love to have done it again with everybody there to then fight and get to the final, you know?
Yeah, and would you have done the Grand Champion event as well as your individual event?
Yeah, so I would always do 50, 55, and then the Open. And at first I was just doing the Open just for a challenge, just to fight some different people, because as you might know, when you're fighting these tournaments, it's kind of the same people. So just wanted to challenge myself, and I kind of proved myself in those divisions.
Yeah, I think especially when you kind of step up to the senior divisions, you start to see the same faces all the time. Like a junior can be,
Yeah.
it can be changing, because obviously people, they grow, they go to different weight divisions, they turn senior, but in the senior divisions, you could get used to seeing the same faces. So it's nice to step in.
And definitely in the 50s, because it's such a lightweight and not many women anymore in that weight. But it was a lot of juniors then coming up into the weight.
Do you find then that many of them don't stay 50 for too long, that they end up, there's maybe only one or two tournaments at maybe minus 50 and then they move up? Does that happen a bit?
A little bit. So there'll be some that would do 51 one tournament, and then the next I wouldn't see them in 50. I'd be like, what's going on here? But yeah, sometimes it would be they didn't want to cut down, or they were just comfortable at 55.
Yeah, I see that quite a bit, because I compete in minus 57 in Taekwondo, and all the time, like, you're seeing the guys, okay, this guy's coming up from junior, he's going to compete in the division, and maybe they're around for one tournament, and then it's like all of a sudden, like, because it's senior as well, life takes over, and like 57 isn't an option anymore. So there's never as many. Just when it looks like the division might be filling out, it doesn't. Like in Ireland, I think the most we've ever had at a tournament in Ireland at 57 is 4. You know,
Okay.
Yeah, you have to kind of go abroad for the division to fill out, because like that you start thinking, geez, you might have 6-8 people here, but it never works out, because like that.
And do you go away often for the Taekwondo?
Yeah, so I'd be on the national Taekwondo team. It'd be ITF Taekwondo, so not the Olympic style.
Okay.
We were meant to go to the European Championships. I think we should have been there last week or 2 weeks ago, but obviously got cancelled with the coronavirus. So we were in the middle of preparation for that, and it just all stopped.
Yeah, is it going to be rearranged or you're not sure?
I'm not too sure. They were talking about, I think, trying to find an alternative date, but there was the World Cup was meant to be in October in Slovenia. They've since cancelled that until 2022. So I don't know. Maybe the Europeans might be able to fill in there, but I'm not totally sure yet. But
Not sure. Fair enough.
yeah, it'd be great because when it was first cancelled, I was kind of feeling, look, it is what it is. But then when it was the week that you were supposed to be there, it was kind of like, I should be there.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, shit.
And I know everybody's in the same position. I understand that, but it's annoying because when you've kind of got a plan and goals, it's now set back a year. And again, like I said, everyone's in the same position, but it's annoying when your age is getting on, you know.
Yeah. Especially like pushing on, yeah. I'm starting to feel, I do feel old sometimes, especially around the time we had a good bit of turnover. It's like I'm only 25, so like, and I think I'm the oldest senior male, so like that. Yeah, you definitely start to feel like I'm pushing, pushing on, even though.
Yeah.
You know.
You're still young.
So, you kind of transitioned then for a little bit into Taekwondo yourself, then, did you? Am I right?
Yeah. So I've done the kickboxing, and then obviously when you're fighting the same people, it's just a bit kind of demotivating. And then so I thought, do you know what? Let me try out for the Taekwondo team. So I sent them an email, and obviously I couldn't go to the proper selections because I had the maths exam. So they kind of set another thing up for me, which was still a trial, but it was just a smaller one, if that makes sense. So I went up for that to Manchester, and funnily enough, I didn't hear nothing back. So I had to go to, my plan was to go to uni if I didn't do that. So I went to uni for 7 days for the Freshers Week. And then I took all my stuff up to Worcester University, was there, thought that was going to be my time for 3 years. And then had an email from the GB Taekwondo in Manchester, and then packed all my stuff, came home for 2 weeks, and then packed everything up again, went to Manchester. And at the start, it was great. Like, I actually enjoyed, like, the training 3 times a day is 100% what I want to do in the future. But then obviously they put me straight into full training. So they didn't ease me into it. So my body wasn't used to that. And then I was training up for the Dutch Open to fly out to Amsterdam. But then obviously I couldn't go and have my first tournament there because I had a hip injury, which required a steroid injection, and the kicking ability just wasn't there. So then obviously I was doing the 46 kilos, which the lightest I got to was 46.6. And then obviously the steroid injection, my weight was going up from that. And obviously they didn't like that. And obviously I was trying to tell them, like, I am eating good, but I'm not training. So I'm eating good, but I'm not training. So how is the weight meant to come off? And then anyway, I got released from there, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So I went back to kickboxing for a little bit. And then that's when I sat down with my dad and thought, no, I want to train full time. So I need to get a job and do another sport where I can excel in that. Then we just thought, yeah, boxing's the way forward. Women's boxing's coming up now. And then I hung the kickboxing gloves up and moved over to boxing.
Yeah, nice. So was it, what was the, I suppose, apart from the kind of the way it ended, how was the kind of the overall experience in the training like that for
the overall experience? I think it was fantastic, just to get an insight of what they do, having the coaches, having a nutritionist, because one of my nutritionists at the time was Josh Kelly, who boxes. That's his nutritionist now. So yeah, just having that environment kind of made me realise, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want to do, but just obviously in another sport.
Did you find it hard maybe to when you were released? Because obviously I suppose the thing with that style of the taekwondo is the potential shot at the Olympics. Was it kind of a bit of was it hard to take? Maybe you weren't going to maybe get that shot.
It was, yeah. So it was. However, obviously with the kickboxing, it was never in the Olympics. So I never grew up dreaming about the Olympics, because it was we always knew that kickboxing was never there at the time. So yeah, I've never really had that dream to go. But when I was on the team, obviously training for Tokyo to get that spot, and that was obviously exciting. But I don't think it was that crushed me. I think it was having to then get a job is what I kind of hurt the most. But yeah, I don't regret it. I think I move with life, with everything happens for a reason, and that just wasn't for me.
Yeah, and was that kind of because I've seen that some some stuff on Instagram as well, like from the GB Taekwondo, that like the emerging talent stuff. They're looking to do some trials and look for people to apply. Was that kind of the setup that you came through as well?
Yeah, it was called something which I can't exactly remember. It was called talent. Yeah, it was something like a program, which is, yeah, that's what I done.
What was involved in the trial? What sort of stuff did they have you do? Was it kind of spar? Was it stuff on the pads or?
So it was just like technical, so just kicking across the floor, and then it was just some pads, different speeds as well, and then yeah, a little bit of sparring at the end.
And did you find that a little bit hard not being able to use your hands?
Yeah, I punched the girl in the face, and they were like, "You're not allowed to do that," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry. It's just a habit." And then obviously I just didn't use my hands. I just kicked. But yeah, it was a great experience. Great experience.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's hard not to punch when like you're so used to it and the head is just there. It's just.
I know, and you've only got them little gloves on, so.
Yeah, that would be. Do you think kickboxing might eventually end up in the Olympics with them getting WAKO recognition, or have you followed any of that?
In my opinion, I think how the sport is moving now is definitely gone in the right direction. I can't fault that, but the reason why I had to get out of it is because by the time it does reach to where it needs to be, my age is going to be too much. However, my opinion, whether it'll be in the Olympics, maybe one day, but I can't give a definite yes.
Yeah, I think that's what most people's opinion seem to be, is like maybe someday.
Because if
people
it
would love to
is,
see it there, but who knows when that could happen.
and which discipline would it be? Would it be the points? That's all in there as well. So
yeah, always the question. That's the big question as well. It's always asked is which one gets in. It's like that. Is full contact or like K1 or light kick? Is that too close to, like, is some of the ring stuff, is that too close to boxing? Like, 'cause they already have that kind of stuff. And I know karate is in at the next Olympics, but then if that happens to stay in, I don't know if it will. Is that too close to points then? So
that's what I'm thinking as well.
So which one do you pick?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you find the transition then from kickboxing to boxing?
Really well. I'm very stubborn in what I do, if that makes sense. So when I first went to boxing and I had my coach, I sat with him and I said, "Yeah, I'm not losing. You're not taking away my movement." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm taking this with me." And he was like, "Okay, that's fine. We'll work with it." So for the because obviously amateurs is 3-minute rounds. So the movement that I've got within that has transitioned amazingly. So I box. I can have a fight and I can box, and how I like to box is kind of picking them off. So that's transitioned from the point, so hit and move, and then when I need to have that scrap, I'll have that scrap. But yeah, so like I'm saying, for the 3-minute rounds, the movement that I've got is perfect. Obviously, when I start to move up the rounds, that will have to be tailored. But again, that's just something we'll work on when I get there. But yeah, I think the transition has worked like tremendously for me.
And what amateur gym do you box out of now?
So I was at Finchley, so obviously the home of Anthony Joshua, and then obviously my coach left there, and me and my coach get on really well. When coming from with my dad as a coach, I have to gel with that person, so I can't just go from one coach to another. So when he left, I then went to a boxing gym called IQ in Neasden, where Dillian White's trainer is from that gym. So yeah, I'm at another great place where I'm getting looked after. So it's good.
Yeah, two top places. I suppose at the moment Finchley is kind of known for Anthony Joshua, but it would have had a lot of top amateurs come through there as well previously.
Mm-hmm. Have we?
Yeah, Finchley, like outside of Anthony Joshua, would have had a lot of top amateurs come through that gym before him.
Yeah, and as well there is Shannon Courtney, who was at Finchley, and she's gone pro now with Eddie Hearn, so that's amazing for her. And there's another boy called Yasser, who's with an amateur, a promoter called Steve Goodwin, so he's gone pro from there as well.
And do you think, just going back with the Olympics, do you think would that be a goal with boxing to maybe have a push at the Olympics? Obviously on the back of maybe winning the elites or anything like that.
Yeah, so again, I would never rule that out. Obviously Tokyo's next year now, so that's not going to happen. But if the GB door opened, I wouldn't say no. However, would I wait 4 or 5 years to go to the next one? It just depends on where I'm at the time. And obviously if a great promoter comes along before GB, then I wouldn't say no to that either. So it just depends on where I'm at the time.
Yeah. You wouldn't say if you wouldn't turn down maybe a promoter to go pro and try and hang on.
Eddie Hearn, no way. I would do that tomorrow.
Yeah, because I know that was kind of the thing that even with like Katie Taylor kind of pushed on it, like had won the Olympics, but then it was like, would she turn pro after that or stay on? And I suppose that luckily it's worked out in her favor that she, I suppose, stayed on, but I still managed to have a pro career. But I suppose like time is always a factor in what you're going to do.
Yeah, definitely. But she's such an inspiration, and her documentary on Netflix was just amazing to watch. It made me cry, but because obviously she was close to her dad as well, so it was relatable.
Yeah, some similarities there, I guess. Is your dad still involved somewhat with now that you're boxing?
No. So I'll always say to him, do you want to come watch me train? But I think it's that element of he gets like emotional but doesn't show it. So he'll straight away be like, no, I'm busy. And I know it's hard for him to see me with somebody else. He's 100% behind me and supporting me, but yeah, just to see me with someone else right now is hard for him.
Yeah. And I suppose it would be hard as well maybe to bite his tongue and not coach if he was there.
Yeah. Because he knows boxing, but obviously the boxing coaches that I have obviously know boxing a lot more. So
yeah, did you find it even hard then switching from like points kickboxing and stuff like the 3 2-minute rounds? Did you find how was the transition to like the longer duration with the 3 3s?
So when I first started boxing, it was 2 minutes until I became an elite, and then obviously when you're an elite, it goes to 3 minutes. But yeah, no, I found it okay. It's just I started to do more runs, get my fitness higher, and it's just how you manage the round. So obviously I start off just kind of looking, picking off, and obviously I do that for about 40-50 seconds, and obviously then the rest, that's when you have the fight. So it's just about the ring management, really.
But did you feel at all like you were maybe like often you're seeing boxers there and some of them are starting just boxing, could be 6-7 years of age, and obviously you were maybe a little later just getting into strictly boxing. Did you find that a bit hard to compete with some of them at the start?
In the kickboxing or the boxing?
In the boxing, so like obviously you have people who are just 5 or 6 start boxing just using their hands, no kicks, and then you've kind of been in a different sport and you were trying to maybe catch up. Did you find that there was maybe a bit of catching up to be done?
No, I think they've got to catch up with me. If I'm honest. I just think the kickboxing is just for any sport that you want to go into, it just gives you that extra edge with people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because we've learned how to punch and move, whereas the boxers, I just feel they have just learned to punch. So yes, they can move, but the points is just gives you phenomenal movement, I think.
Yeah, I actually always feel like even sometimes see maybe even we kind of get it from Taekwondo. I think points kickboxing get it sometimes that doesn't work in like MMA or the UFC because the style. But then my opinion is that fighting is fighting, and that like distance, timing, movement, like that's all the same.
100%.
So I think that actually it does translate over because like if you have an understanding of all those things, then it's kind of just a rule set you have to get used to. So like in boxing, we can only use your hands, but all the main components are the same. Yeah.
And Michael Page is killing it in the MMA, so.
The prime example, yeah. Raymond Daniels as well, so.
Yeah.
Would you have trained with and that would Michael Venom Page at any point in time?
Yeah, so I have. So before boxing, I went down to London Shoe Fighters with him because obviously my family and his family and him we're all quite close. So yeah, I did have a session there, but just the groundwork just wasn't for me. Just didn't like it, and obviously if I want to pursue at something, I have to like it instantly. And I had a good session, but it's just then I just knew like this is not what I want to do, and it's just a bit brutal. I'll never rule it out in the future, but for now, just the boxing.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I think is good with MMA is that they treat it the exact same pretty much as the main. So the one thing it always kind of frustrates me, especially in pro boxing, but even I suppose it kind of comes into the amateur boxing as well, is the fact that the women in amateur boxing have to wear head guards and the men don't. I think that's something I don't know why you would not have it the same. And also then in pro boxing, it really frustrates me the fact that it's only a 2-minute round and not a 3-minute round. It's like,
yes,
I don't know why. Like, why can't it be a three? Why is it only like a title? Why is it a world title fight for the women only 10 2-minute rounds, but the men is 12 threes? Like, why can't it be the same? So would
and
you have?
that's something. Sorry.
Yeah, would you have any, like, what would be your feeling on those kind of things?
Yeah, so I don't want to wear a head guard. I think it makes you more focused and aware, and your head movement is 10 times better because obviously you've not got a head guard on. My thing to that is the females and the males, we both have the same brain and we're both adults, so what's the difference? And then again in the pros, the 2 minutes, why not do 3 because you've done 3? What I just don't understand it, and no one's giving me an answer. So
Yeah, I find this, and I think that's part of the reason why there isn't more stoppages in the women's boxing, because I find anytime I'm watching Katie Taylor now, it's like she's just kind of getting heated up the round. She's just getting into the groove in the round, and it's over. It's like if you add in that extra minute of landing shots, I think you see more stoppages.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, which is
I agree.
like that in the pros, I suppose.
Because it's hard when you go into the round, when you start, it's hard to just then fire off straight away. You naturally just look for it, and then you get built into it.
Yeah, like that. Even like I think you're looking at it going, oh, the women can't put, like you see it like in MMA, there's knockouts, but then you go to boxing, it's like, well, why isn't there as many knockouts there? And I think it is because you have that shorter time, and like people want to turn up and they're seeing great fights, but they also want to see some stoppages. And I think if you added in that extra minute into the rounds, I think you'd see more stoppages. And I like you said, because there's no reason potentially why.
Yeah, no, I've no reason, and I will find out the answer one day.
Yeah, even the headgear I found, like a couple of times, like just any times we went where we would, I suppose, box just to train our hands for our sport. And if I put a headgear on, a headguard, I find like even if you make the person miss a little bit, it still could glance off the headguard. You're fixing the headguard. There's also stuff whereas if you take it off, it might glance off, it might miss it. It affects the small, like you said, the small things. Avoiding punches, it does have an effect.
Yeah.
If you just took it off.
Yeah, and I see better with that one, just like the sides.
Yeah, so people actually maybe would get hit with less punches.
Yeah.
What does a training schedule kind of look for you now? I suppose, well, not now, but outside of coronavirus, how many sessions would you be getting in a week, and what would they look like in terms of strength and conditioning, maybe running sessions, boxing sessions?
Yeah, so I was running. So every week I'd probably give myself 2 days off, but I vary them. My coach says obviously no more than 3 miles, because when you're an amateur, you don't really need to run long distance because the round is short. So I vary it. So sometimes I do 1.5 miles and then I'll add sprints, or I'll do 2 or 3 miles. It just depends on how I'm feeling on that day. But yeah, I was doing, obviously got a bag here, and obviously my dad can do pads, but I've not really had a set routine during this time. I've kind of just woke up and then just done whatever I wanted to do when I was feeling like whatever I wanted to do. It was only recently this week, well, last Saturday, I believe it was, that I went back boxing, just me and my coach. Obviously preparation for, because obviously boxing season's done now, but I don't feel, because in the kickboxing, yeah, there was less tournaments in maybe July and August, but they kind of didn't stop. So I don't believe that you should have an off season. I think you should just train the whole way through. So yeah, obviously I'm back training now, and that just looks like just one boxing session in the day or in the evening, and I kind of do that 4 times a week. And obviously then the other days I'll do my strength and conditioning.
Yeah, would Would you do much have many sparring days?
No, so that is obviously because at the gym that I'm at, I'm pretty much like the only girl. So I do fight the boys, which isn't a problem. But we're a gym where we'll only spar if we need to spar because of all the heavy punches and things like that. We don't spar every session. So there's not set days. It's just you might spar 1 week, then have 2 weeks off, and then spar again.
Yeah. So is it like?
And obviously, then lead up to fights, you'll go to other gyms, and other gyms will come to you.
Yeah, I suppose that you don't really want to be in them wars in the gym. You kind of save it for the competition, competitive sport.
Yeah.
Fight. And do you have somebody then who looks after your strength? I think you mentioned already. You mentioned maybe having a nutritionist. Do you have somebody who looks after your strength and conditioning for you?
So I don't have a nutritionist. That was when I was on the Taekwondo.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just kind of, because of the weight that I do 51 kilos. So I'm kind of at that anyway. But there is a 48 kilos as well. So we was thinking of maybe doing that. But I won the Winter Box Cup in December at 51 quite comfortably. So yeah, I think the challenge will be, we'll know whether I do 48 when I reach kind of international level. And well, when I fight the international girls, I mean, seeing their height and things, obviously I'm quite short for the weight. And obviously a lot of people drop from maybe 56 to 51, whereas I'm kind of at that anyway. So yeah, 48 is definitely in mind. So I can do like a 48 and then the 51 and mix between the two. But yeah, the strength and conditioning I do, there is a guy in East London. So it's it's about an hour from me. But it's worth it.
Yeah, I do. Do you feel it's a benefit to have kind of somebody look after your strength and conditioning for you than trying to look after that kind of stuff yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously the weights and stuff is not my strong point. So I don't really know form and kind of what to do for whatever I need. And my cardio, so what we did when we did the testings, my cardio is on point, is where it needs to be. It's my strength now, obviously, because the points fighting was never full contact. So it's now just the strength that we need to build up. So yeah, I find it a lot easier when I've got someone just kind of telling me what to do and how to do.
Yeah, and so it's twice a week. You said you kind of do that type of work.
Yeah.
So the nutritionist, is that the same person, or do you have somebody else?
No, so that was just in a Taekwondo. So I just kind of.
If you go to 48, are you going to bring in a nutritionist? Who would you think that would be?
Oh yes, definitely, yeah. Yeah, because I like do my own food now, but I don't do like macros and calories and things like that because that just goes over my head. So I would definitely need someone to help me out with that.
Yeah. I've had a couple of people on and like that with nutrition and strength and conditioning. It's like they need somebody. If you're looking after yourself like that, it can be hard to keep yourself on track, and you start double guessing yourself. And so whereas if you have somebody else looking after it and say do this, so that makes everything much easier.
Yeah, 100%. And I like just being told because I work as well, so it's just easier.
And how do you find balancing work with training?
I balance it pretty well, but I'm very tired. So obviously my work is full time, so it was varied. So it's retail, so I can work weeks. So my 2 days off are varied. But yeah, I work 9 to 6, and obviously my boxing class starts at 6. So I'll get changed at work, drive straight there. Then I'm about 20 minutes late, so I always stay a bit extra. And yeah, then I train, come home, shower and everything, then do the same the next day. So yeah, it's tiring, but it's worth it, you know.
Yeah, but do you find even though maybe having that type of consistent structure helps? You know where you're going to be at pretty much every hour of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I prefer structure and routine. All good?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just dropped out there for a second. So So then what were kind of I know you mentioned the elites, but what were the kind of upcoming tournaments that you were also looking at? Was there any other tournaments you were looking at getting in?
Yes, it was. So this year was going to be the elites and then finish on the Haringey Box Cup. So both of them are really strong tournaments. And then we was looking to do the Winter Box Cup again in December. So have a few bouts when the season starts in September, and then do the Box Cup again in December. Then we was looking at doing an international tournament next year, and then the elites again, then the Haringey again. And that's when we was going to look at what road I was going to go down, whether GB doors had opened by then, or if it was looking at going pro.
And do you think maybe pro is more likely at this moment in time?
I think yes. On top of my head right now, yes. But again, if the doors open, then I wouldn't say no.
And is it Eddie Hearn the preference, or if somebody else like Frank Warren or anybody else comes along?
Yeah, no, of course Eddie Hearn's the preference. But again, I would always sit down with anyone who opened the door, and obviously sit down and have a chat. I wouldn't rule anybody out. I would always talk to someone about it and what they can offer and things like that.
Yeah, obviously, I suppose the attraction is Eddie Hearn when he has people like that, like Katie Taylor and that on the in the stable, and a couple of other people, Shannon Courtney and Terry Harper, I think, is another one he is with, isn't he?
Yeah, Terry Harper, I really like her. I do. Her boxing, she's just very smart, and her IQ is just, yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, her last fight was I suppose, especially being the underdog, she was a technical masterclass, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're looking at, I think, Natasha Jonas for her next.
That'd be
good.
Another really good fight, actually. Yeah. Can you still hear me? Yeah, and I suppose especially you get onto them Sky shows as well.
Yeah, that's the dream. That's the dream.
And if you can be in the same, I suppose, because even I suppose Katie Taylor got the option as well had the chance to when he brings them big Anthony Joshua cards to Wembley. If you can sneak onto the undercard as well, you get that opportunity as well. So
I know. It's exciting.
And so then, just actually before we kind of maybe finish up, if you had to pick maybe a favorite fighter,
my favorite boxer.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a boxer, but
so right now would be Lomachenko, because I just think he's phenomenal. His movement, his training, just everything. He's just crazy and exciting to watch. And I'm someone who I do find it hard to watch. If I have to watch my weight in boxing in the amateurs, I find it hard to watch it because they're just one-dimensional and I find them boring. I like to watch people who are unpredictable and you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, do you feel a little bit like that yourself? Because maybe you're bringing some of your kickboxing background into boxing, so maybe you're a little bit not so orthodox yourself and in some of your movement.
Yeah. So my dad taught us to not be one-dimensional. He taught us to kind of do everything, and obviously that's why I bought the sweep. That's why I drilled the sweeps, because no one was doing them in the female division. And then I just like to be exciting and different.
And have you tried any of Lomachenko's moves?
I'm working on them. I'm not quite there yet, but yeah, we're working on them.
I suppose you said you did. I think he's supposed to have developed a lot of his footwork from dance, and you said you did a bit of dance. Do you think there's maybe a connection there as well?
Not for me, no. For him, definitely. He drilled his dancing, but yeah, no, mine's just from the kickboxing.
Yeah, it's kind of mad, isn't it? Like the fact his dad told him he had to go and do dancing for 3 years. He had to do 3 years of dancing before he could go boxing.
I know, but look what he's done for him.
I know, yeah. But I suppose that's you really find out. Do you really want to box? Is that really what you want to do?
Yeah. When he holds his breath, I watched his documentary on YouTube, and he holds his breath underwater for such a long time, and he juggles, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, we actually did some work with kind of sports psychologist a few years back, and he had us kind of doing like some of those exercises where, like, you know, you maybe spar, or you do a drill, and you come over and you try to, can you count numbers? Can you, like, because they'll be all messed up on the board, and you have to go in order. And can you still stay focused and relaxed? So I think there's maybe something that's kind of similar to what he does, and why he's always so relaxed under pressure. Because I suppose he never feels under pressure. He always sees the situation in front of him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I remember when we did those exercises, like, you could stand back but not tired, and you go, oh yeah, sure, there it is, and you do it no problem. But, and you think even, oh, you mean a little bit of sparring and then come over? Of course I can do it, but it makes a big difference. If you had to pick a favorite fight to watch, what's been the favorite fight that you maybe have seen?
In boxing.
Yeah, it can be boxing. Yeah.
Favorite fight that I've seen. I'm going to say, so it's not the favourite fight, it's the favourite kind of situation, would be the Josh versus Ruiz. So the first one obviously was, you didn't know that was going to happen. But then what I liked was, so Anthony Joshua fought one style, and then when he came back, he was a complete different person. And I think that's my favourite, because he brought other coaches in for that. And then just watching him, you could see he drilled so much new things, and had more tactics into that fight, and obviously he smashed it.
Yeah, and the discipline as well to stick with that, to not, you know, to not step away from that plan and go back to what he did in the first fight, to stick for the 12 rounds to the game plan.
And he had movement the second time.
Yeah,
moving around the ring.
Do you think him and Tyson Fury will happen, or do you think it'll be Fury and Wilder first?
No, I think it'll be Fury and Wilder first. I think they will leave the Josh and Fury till the very end. And
are you sticking with your, I suppose, maybe gym mate with Anthony Joshua?
100%. And he's from Watford, so am I.
I suppose you have to, yeah. You have to. Yeah, actually, I think we might wrap it up there. I don't think I've overly anything more I want to ask you. I really enjoyed the chat. It was good to get.
Yeah, it was lovely. Thank you.
There's somebody who's crossed over from I've had some people from kickboxing and points kickboxing, but none of them have switched over to boxing. So it's been good to have a chat with somebody who's that kind of has that story and background.
Yeah, that's been cool.
So yeah, thanks a million for coming on, and hopefully you'll get back to proper training and you'll get those fights in and not too long.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck with your training as well.
Thanks very much. So all the best.
Cool. Thank you.